Hi guys, this is Lashette from Scarlet Moon Creations, and I am back with a new video. This is day 3 of Ivy the Occultist 12 Days of Yule Challenge. Okay, so links in the description to Ivy's announcement video where you can find out what all of the prompts are for each day. Before I get into today's prompt, you know what's coming. Links in the description to ways you can find out more information and ways you can help the people of Palestine to end this genocide and for them to be free on the land they're currently living in and not be driven out anymore. In addition to that, there are also links as well to how you can help the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo, those who are being enslaved in mines which are used to basically strip their country of minerals which are used to create our electronics. Ways you can donate and support and how you can find out more information in the description down below. Today's prompt is to reflect on the last year of your practice. I have a lot to say. I use Lavender's year in review questions, which she has which the group of them have in a journal or planner that they create every year. I'm using the same questions as last year because I don't think they have the video prompts up yet for 2024. But essentially, I'll share some of that to describe more about my practice this year. The prompts are as follows. 2023 was the year that I had two major practices in my pagan practice, my personal practice this year. One was the Deccan Walk, 2023 to 2024. It's not over yet. And that is a study of the tarot going via astrology, going decan by decan. It's kind of a study along kind of thing. And I was like, why not? Because this is an excuse to dive deeper into some of the astrology texts and podcasts that I've been wanting to. So I did, and I have been learning quite a bit. The other major practice I've been doing is the cauldron ritual, a cauldron-born ritual. So I've talked about this recently in my November reading wrap-up, the recent reads 88, I think it is. It'll be a link somewhere. I discussed how my coven decided to pick up a book to do like a group read. Like we're focusing on one Welsh myth, the story of Caradwyn's cauldron and the kind of birth or rebirth of Taliesin. The book is called From the Cauldron, born by Christopher Hughes. This is not the be-all end-all about this myth and studying it and delving deep and whatever have you. You can see that's part of my recent reads video to get like a review of the book itself. But I did, in the back of the book is a year-long ritual called Caradwyn's Cauldron. Essentially, we're trying to create Awen, which is wisdom and spirit and connection and other things. This magical spiritual energy that is said to have imbued Taliesin, or made Taliesin who he is, because that's not who he was originally in the myth. Very briefly, the myth is that Caradwyn is this woman who has great magical and herbal knowledge, and she is married to, it seems like, a very prosperous man, with all the land that they have, and they have 2 children. One is a very beautiful daughter, and one is a very ugly son. Like, there is no obfuscation about either of their looks, which, probably wouldn't fly in today's world. But anyway, her son, because of being so ugly, doesn't have very many prospects in life. No one really wants to get to know him, and he can't really get a job or, make friends or get a wife or whatever. So how is he supposed to survive? So she comes up with this idea to create this ritual somehow, and it takes a year and a day, and she keeps adding various ingredients into it, and when it is done, the first 3 drops are to go to her son. He's supposed to ingest them, and then he will be all that is great and wonderful in the world, and the rest will be poison. She hires this blind old man to tend to the fire, and she also hires this young kid from the neighborhood, Gwion-bok, to stir the cauldron when she can't. Obviously, she has to go out foraging and wildcrafting and whatever, so do whatever else Caradwyn does with her day. So the time comes, and an accident happens while Gwion-bok is stirring, and the 3 drops fall on him. They burn him, so he instinctively puts the burned part of his hand into his mouth, ingesting those 3 drops. Then the cauldron cracks open, and everything, the rest of it is poison, killing all the plants, and Caradwyn sees this and is mad, and there's a whole chase a la the Sword in the Stone Disney cartoon between the witch and the wizard. So they change into various animals to get away, so he can get away from her. And then he changes into a piece of corn, and she into a hen. She ingests him, and then suddenly she's pregnant and feeling motherly towards this being in her uterus. Then she gives birth, but she doesn't keep the baby. She wraps it in a coracle, I don't know, it's a bale or a skin or something, puts it in a basket in the river, and sends it on its way. Like 40 years later, it shows up downriver somewhere. Some dude or knight or whatever finds it, takes it out, raises it, and it's Taliesin. So the ritual is supposed to sort of copy that situation, but for yourself. The ritual is for a year and a day, roughly. I say roughly because we'll get into it. There are ingredients for every month, and you collect them. You have a container that you can put over a fire to kind of simmer the ingredients, and some sacred waters that you add to it. And then at the end, you have a massive ritual. Drop 3 drops on your thumb. They sting, they burn because it's hot, and then you ingest it, and then you throw the rest of it away. Kind of creating Awen, and then bringing it into yourself. So on one part, you are following in the footsteps of Caradwyn. On the other end, you are following in the footsteps of Gwion-bok and Taliesin. You are also, I guess, taking on the other characters in the story, with the stirring and the fire tending and the gathering of the plants and all of that other stuff. I did this, and I've never done a year-long ritual before. I was intrigued when I read about it, and doing it was a lot. That took up most of my year between these two practices, and then whatever I did with my coven. Obviously, we had our rituals or that we do regularly. You know, that was damn near my entire year. So looking back on my practice, it was mostly that. The other prompts, I'm using some of them here in this video, but I will say they're definitely focused on this year of my spiritual practice here. The next thing is what worked. I think that planning for, but keeping myself open to change. Hey, the year-long ritual, it worked. It didn't work the way I expected, but it worked. I did have to remind myself a lot to give myself grace, to not give up, but it worked. And I enjoyed it. This is from my spiritual journal where I wrote down like my thoughts and stuff. I'm glad I did this, and try not to beat myself up over things like not getting to do as much research or falling behind on some monthly rituals because of not having ingredients. And you know, I figured it out though. Keeping on going when I wanted to give up is another thing that worked. There's so many times there was things like seemed to overwhelm me, or I was just like, I don't, whether it was rituals, I forgot something for a ritual, or I forgot that I should have been doing a ritual and didn't have this, I didn't prepare for it. Just setting up my altar, like quite often I just forget in the miasma of life. Not having access to certain ingredients for the year-long ritual, not doing readings that I wanted to do or I planned to do with the deck and what, like, I'll get more into that stuff later, but like, just do it anyway, and that worked a lot. Even if it's delayed, do it anyway. I also worked with Caradwin a lot, so I'm happy. What didn't work this year? Trying to draw blood for blood magic without a lancet. Guys, never in my life. Okay, so I've done blood magic before in a group setting, right? And in that case, someone, for whatever reason, has had a lancet, which, if you're around diabetics or are diabetic, you're aware of that kind of thing, either in the hospital or the ones they use at home. I'm not diabetic, so I don't have lancets. And I have, as every other person, I've had paper cuts that bleed. I have cut myself with a knife while cooking or preparing other things. I've cut myself with scissors and thorns while, you know, dealing with plant materials. I have had accidents. I've tripped over the edge of my bed and cut my foot with, you know, the frame. And to the point where I have many scars on my feet. But in this almost 2-month time period, I could not get a drop of blood out of my body. And what's funny is the month before this ritual was supposed to be done, I actually, trigger warning for blood conversation here. I should have said that earlier. This is gonna get smidge violent. Accidental. I injured my big toe running barefoot in my apartment. There was a nail I wasn't aware of sticking up, and I kind of sliced it open. Blood all up and down the hallway in the living room, and then pooling in the bathroom. And it was a hot summer day, and I couldn't deal by myself, so my dad wound up cleaning up all the blood for me. It wasn't too much, but it was a lot. More than enough for this ritual. Had I thought, maybe I should collect some, but no. And then a couple months later, I needed blood, and I couldn't get any out of me. Uh, in this year-long ritual, 1 month you needed blood, regular blood, and another month menstrual blood. This is why I didn't, if you're wondering. But yeah, so that didn't work until I got a lancing machine, and I got lancets from my high priest, who's a nurse, and a friend wound up mailing me. Everything arrived at the same time. But oh my goodness. Okay. Other things that didn't work. The deck studies. I had planned to do deck studies this year. I did not plan to do a deck and walk, but then I heard about it literally the day it started, and I was like, I'm in. And didn't realize until later that it was too much. It was too much. The deck and walk, the regular rituals that I'm doing with my coven and outer court, plus this year-long ritual, was a lot already. So trying to do deck studies, I didn't get to any of them. Any of them. None of the ones I planned. So if you were looking for updates on the deck study videos that I started last year, 2024, after March. That being said, it's okay. I did very much regret some of that. It took me a while to let it go. Even now, I'm like, maybe I could do... But that's only now because I no longer have the year-long ritual. So it's possible I can actually think about other stuff. And as far as covens with my ritual, we're done for the year. So I got a couple of weeks, maybe I could do something. The Drop'em 78 is something created by Mindful Tarot. I wanted to come back to it, and this is what I'm considering. It's like you're supposed to study one card a day from one deck for 78 days. Obviously, it started already. I wanted to continue the one I didn't finish last year, which is for my Deviant Moon Tarot. Maybe. We'll see. I've got the major arcana to do, so it's possible. I'll probably go over into January, but didn't quite work out. Let's talk about these journals. Like, I, as usual, overextended myself. The Plant Ally Project, which I've started many times now, and I need to figure out how this will work for me. This is created by Warts and Cunning, Alexis, on her website, and I love it. It's like a 30-day thing where you can study one particular plant. And I've done it for mugwort. I've done it for plantain last year. And I thought I would continue and be a little bit more decisive or whatnot. I don't know. Proactive this year with the Caradrin's Cauldron year-long ritual, because one of the presets was, hey, you want to gather information about the ingredients, which are, for the most part, plant material, ahead of time. And then you want to go out and you want to wildcraft them, you want to wild forage for them, and then bring them back and wildcraft or put them into your pot or cauldron every month, knowing this information that you've learned about them. You should have created a whole relationship, and I was like, okay, this dovetails very nicely with the Plant Ally project, which I've already done a couple of times. Nope. I got nothing. That's not true. I got a little bit for 2 plants that I included. So Yule was, I think, a January. Yep, that was something for January. And I'm not sure about goldenrod here. I don't remember. But that might have just been me being interested in goldenrod. I haven't shown you this journal. I did kind of a setup and how I worked with it with mugwort. I have not uploaded those videos because I'm like, I want to show more than just the one, right? So when you'll see this, I do not know. Other things with the year-long ritual that I felt didn't work, but at this point, I'm not beating myself up about it, but I didn't the research for the plants didn't get to that the way I wanted to, and the herbal grimoire fell to the wayside again. I also didn't catch on to much of the study and contemplation sections for each month. Like, I don't know what those paragraphs in the beginning were at first, or what I thought, but I was just kind of rushing into it with enthusiasm and then realizing I was missing stuff, essentially. Majority of it was rereading sections of the book, which I did. However, I had also given myself the homework of doing the exercises that are at the end of almost all the chapters, and I didn't get to a bunch of those towards the end there. It didn't happen. And I had serious delays twice in the year, and thinking about it, these are the times, once again, where I'm very busy now. Like, October through December is like, and then July, always. Part of it though was ingredients. Like, there was stuff I was like, I forgot about, I needed, or I thought it was one thing, it wasn't, or I didn't know where I would be able to source those from. The implication is you go in the wild, but some stuff doesn't grow here, and then I was just giving myself anxiety and stress and existential crises, but I kept doing it. I figured out some sort of substitution that fit the purpose of the ritual for that month, or the ingredients for that month, and I added them in and I did them. It was just a lot, and looking back, again, it was a lot because I had so much other spiritual stuff that I was doing, and so it was easy to forget certain parts. I would like to do this ritual again in trying to more fully encompass it, but essentially I think I did a good job overall. I think it turned out very well. I did my whole elaborate ritual at the end, and my cauldron was not hot anymore. So I did the 3 drops, and then it was like, okay, well, I'm not getting that affection. So I had to like jury rig my incense spoon, which is metal. I scooped some up and I held it over a candle to heat up that little bit, because I don't have a kitchen in here, and bringing everything in the kitchen was not possible. So 3 drops and it worked out. So that is what didn't work. What would I change going forward? I would choose to do less, essentially. What did I learn? Well, from the Cauldron Born, from the book, I learned how to look for the mysteries and in things, looking deeper into myths and legends for inspiration in your metaphysics, in your occult practice, in your pagan practice. How did my practice evolve? Essentially, my confidence improved. There's a lot of stuff. I didn't do a lot of spell work before. I quite often ran into a wall of, well, what would I do a spell for? I'm 20 something when I start practicing anything occult or pagan, and it was about the spiritual aspect for me, the connection, not the magic. Like, the magic, it was nice, and learning how, various ways to do that was nice. But I wanted the deities and the, honoring nature and the seasons and feeling comfortable in my spirit and my soul. Not even really too much deity work. So now, obviously, that's changed. I do a lot more deity work, but that was before this year. Magic. Now I can think of stuff that I would do a spell for. I would do magic for myself a lot more, since I've done magic all year. And that's wild. That was just like, oh. I also feel more comfortable talking about it online, obviously. So I'm gonna end this here because this is a long ass video. Guys, like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you are new. Hit the notification bell so you know when the next video is coming. Let me know what you think down below about any of this stuff. Links in the description to everything I've mentioned, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to. There's also a 10% off discount code to my Etsy shop where I make all natural bath and body products for magical and mundane purposes. I also make incense and oils and offer tarot and oracle card readings as well. Imbolc is coming up. Valentine's Day is coming up. You can get gifts or you can get something for yourself. Check it out, is all I'm saying. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. The next video is Yule divination, crafts or charms. I have a craft that I didn't intend to do this year, but I filmed it, and so that's what you're gonna get. It's shorter than this video, I promise you so very much. But that's it for me today, guys. See you in the next video. Bye.